Sie hören Sport und Musik.
Das Spiel ist aus! Deutschland ist Weltmeister!
In a world where fans fight over whether to call it football, or soccer, two German men defy the odds and call it Fußball. Bringing you inside the German-American football experience. And now, here are your hosts, the Schnitzel Boys.
Yeah! Yahoo! Did you see that? We're through to the quarterfinals, baby.
Oh, yeah, amazing.
3 goals.
Who would have thought?
And all 3 of our guys were wide open in the box.
Amazing.
The defenders were morons. Hello.
Yeah, really
Man
weak.
Marcus.
Surprisingly poor performance from the Dutch defense.
But Greg Berhalter had Louis van Gaal's tactics for lunch.
Jesus Ferreira, who would have thought?
Greg Berhalter schooled Louis van Gaal in tactics. Jesus Ferreira with a hat trick. Man, that was a great game. USA 3, Netherlands 1. We're going to play Australia in the quarterfinals, baby.
Amazing.
Hell yeah.
That's going to be a tough one.
Real tough one. They're probably going to win that one. Wait a minute.
No, that's not what happened.
Let me look at the score.
No, that's not what happened. Look at the score. Look at the score again. No. The U.S.
Netherlands
lost. The Netherlands won. 3-1.
We were the morons. Wait, were we the morons?
Well, according to the dudes at the bar, it's all Berhalter's fault.
Oh, sure.
Like everything. Like
in
everything.
their defense, though. I mean,
he definitely gave his haters some openings today.
Yes, he did. So the Netherlands defeated the United States 3-1 in the World Cup round of 16, 2022. The United States are as good as they've ever been, and they'll never get better.
Okay, well, all right.
Not true. You got to believe. But they eliminated essentially. Holland scored on 3 goals. They only had 6 shots on goal. They scored half of them because they're highly efficient.
Yeah.
And they scored 3 goals, and all 3 times there was a guy with all the time in the world and all the space he needed. He just did whatever he wanted.
Okay.
Especially that 3rd goal. He had the entire half of the field to himself. You see that?
The third goal was wild.
And I'm like, where is anybody? Where is anybody? It's like, why does he have that whole side of the field to himself?
That's the kind of goal that you score when you're playing a team that's desperate to come back. Yeah. Listen, I am a man of nuance. I like to see. I don't like to think of things in black and white. I like to see the gray areas, and I think there's lots of gray areas in this game to be found. But yeah, for the casual viewer, I had someone text me who is a very casual. Even calling her a casual soccer. She's a sports person, but not a big soccer person. And she said it looked like the U.S. were beaten by a much better team, and I think it did look like that. I think there's really no way to. That's what happened.
When the Dutch
I'm gonna find the gray of my sweater in this game, but yeah, the headline is definitely this did not go well. This did not go well for the U.S. on any level.
It went well for about 10 minutes, and then
it went well. Yeah, no, it was early on, and then that's obviously what we're gonna think about, that parallel universe where Pulisic scores the early chance, and
right.
then obviously it could be a totally different story. I always think the that front line was always going to be hard for the U.S. to defend, even with an early lead. I'm not, but.
And the defenders were going to be hard for us to defend.
But yeah, everything came up orange in this game. Right. I mean, they then got the goal, and then defended extremely well, and had a, then, and obviously then the second one right before halftime, that's a gut punch, and then for the second half they're up 2 goals for almost all of it, and so they can comfortably sit back. And
this game is a great game to study for coaches, to be like, this is how you play a counterattack. This is how you play a high press / counterattack hybrid team. Essentially, he was doing what Greg Berhalter spent 3.5 years trying to do, and Louis van Gaal just showed him exactly how it's done.
Okay. I mean,
what do you mean, okay? What about Holland's game plan today was flawed?
No, they did.
They were
no,
good to go.
Listen, and I think that's
and they're a counter-attacking team. They played today the same way they played every day, and
I think
play
that's
this
fair.
Way against Argentina as well.
I think that's also something to emphasize, that this Dutch team played extremely well today. And there is still, I think on a good day, this is still a better team than the U.S. team is. And they had a good day. I think you're right. I think Greg Berhalter did a lot well in this World Cup. He did not get today right, and he was probably outcoached, whatever that means exactly. But I think that's probably fair to say about this game.
He was a victim of the Iron Tulip.
The Iron Tulip. Yeah, it's like I mean, I feel bad, for everyone, for the coach, the players. These games are such magnified occasions, right? Like where the entire tenure, like you were saying, like even when you say something like that, something that Greg Berhalter tried for 3.5 years to do. I mean, I think he did, yeah, well, anyway, whatever. We'll get to the nuance later. But yeah, I guess this is now it's all been in vain, right? For a lot. I mean, basically, certainly the people at the bar are like, he sucks. He needs to go. And he screwed it up. And I feel bad that, like 4 years of work gets reduced to one game where, things did not go well.
Well, okay, I'll be a little bit more reasonable. I thought Greg's tenure was fine. I didn't think it was terrible, and I'm not a Greg Berhalter out guy. But but I hope this was his last game, because I've had enough. Not like I want him to be gone because he sucks, just because there should be a 1 cycle per coach thing. Whenever we do multiple cycles, it's always a waste of time.
I mean, that is true. That is a thing statistically.
And
not just for the U.S., for many countries, it seems like
there's a few exceptions. Didier Deschamps seems to be doing good in his second term, and Joachim Löw did well in his multiple terms, except for his last one.
They definitely kept him 2 years too long for sure.
At least
it's hard to, obviously when you have a World Cup winning coach, it's hard to, if they don't want to leave, it's hard to let them go. So that is true. I mean, then the question is who are you gonna get? Who's next? Who are you gonna call? What's that?
Who are you gonna call?
Who are you gonna call? I mean, it's like, when obviously there was a lot of outcry when Greg Berhalter got hired. It's nepotism. His brother is a high-ranking, blah blah blah. But who were the alternatives? People were like, Tata Martino didn't get an interview. Like, ask Mexico about how they feel about Tata Martino did for them. Yeah, so
worst coach in Mexican history is what they're saying.
I mean, the nuance, right? A lot of nuance. He's the worst human being to ever set foot in the country.
Yeah, I think he's not allowed anymore. Well, anyway,
I guess that's what's nice. That's what's nice if you get somebody from a different country. They have somewhere else to go to for.
Yeah. They just don't care. Where's Greg gonna go? Where's Greg
gonna hang out in Argentina? Greg has nowhere to.
Greg's going back to Columbus. Oh, he can't. He just signed Wilfred Nancy. Maybe we'll go to Montreal. Well,
is that what happened?
Oh yeah, what's his name? Wilfred Nancy from
Is
Montreal
going to Columbus. I hadn't heard that. Okay.
Yeah.
That's
I
big
keep
news.
my eye on the MLS. There's big MLS news that's happening, and they're hiding.
I missed a lot of it. I saw Garth Lagerwey is now the GM in Atlanta. I missed that completely until
the
he.
the big LA Galaxy.
Oh, the Galaxy! I saw that the Galaxy are getting fined. I don't know if my Twitter feed does not work as well under Elon Musk.
Elon?
If I'm
I don't know. That's where I'm
missing out on important news items. I'm also a little distracted.
Expansion draft. Yeah, it's other stuff. We don't talk about any of that now. We'll have it later.
No, we're talking about this game.
USA, Netherlands. So the game itself. Let's just talk the game itself. Let's do small picture, big picture.
Sounds good.
Small
good. Please.
We came out swinging, and if we weren't going to score a goal, they were going to punish us, and it was so efficient, and they punished us each and every single time. I think we have the same amount of shots on goal, but it was 3-1. So we missed 5. They got 3.
I would say that the headline for that is just there is a, and I have one bigger takeaway that I don't know when the good time to go into that is.
Well, the silver lining is, if you told me like 10 years ago we would play the Dutch in a round of 16 and we would dominate the possession and control the game, and they would have to counter us, I'd call you crazy.
I think exactly. I think that is really. The U.S. went toe to toe with two, the England game and and this game. I don't think. I mean, I'm also you know this better than I do. I can't say that I've followed them that closely, but I think, there's not a lot of times when when they really were going at it like that. It's when they in the past. It's more, and they've had good results. It's not like they've never succeeded against bigger teams or have looked good, but it was always sort of from a perspective of absolute underdog, sort of hanging on for dear life. You need like Tim Howard to make 87 saves or whatever against Belgium to be in the game, or you're going to get some kind of an incredible defensive performance. And this is a team, and I think that is a silver lining. This is a team that can play. Like, there is not that big. The gap has narrowed. However, as you see on these goals, there still is a gap in quality when you look at these, at these deliveries and the efficiency, the way that. And Holland has not had a game like this in the group stage either. Like, this was, this went so well for them.
Yeah.
But it was clinical.
They did twice as much with half as much, So they had much less opportunities, but when they had those opportunities, they capitalized on them like a sniper. They were very efficient, and it looked like the quality of the players was just better. They just knew how to pass to each other better. They knew how to finish better. They were a little more confident. They didn't care that they didn't really have the ball. Where the U.S. had the ball, went at them, but again, as far as the attacking third goes, we just keep miscommunicating
and fail to capitalize. I mean, it was close. That Pulisic chance was. He's going to think about that for a long time. I mean, that was just an open, and it's not like he completely whiffed it. He had a pretty good finish. The goalie just got the shin on it, and of course, the one goal we did score was not a goal. Yeah, he didn't know anything about that. That was just a fluky goal. Yeah.
This game was over by halftime. When Holland got that goal,
the second goal,
it was like, that's that.
I would say that
maybe if you scored early, but we came out being like, no, nah, the Dutch are controlling this entire half. Like, it's their game.
Yeah, I mean, true. The first, I would say the goals sort of became, it was deteriorating. Obviously, it was a deteriorating defensive performance. I think the first goal, they're on the counter, people are scrambling to go back. The guy picks up a great ball in, and it's a great finish. And it's like, that is hard to defend. You're in transition.
Well, Serginho Dest called ball watching. It was off. The first goal was off the throw-in. It wasn't off. It was off the throw-in.
No, the first one was the counter. No, I think they lost the ball and then countered back.
Maybe I'm thinking
pretty quickly. Goal. The second goal. The second goal is what you're thinking of. The second goal was it was off of a throw-in, in a pretty set defense, and Dest just gets beaten and kind of is late to react.
But their first goal, why is Memphis Depay wide open?
Well, like I said,
spot?
I think that's difficult. It's difficult. They're everybody's scrambling back. It's very hard. Like you're running towards your own goal. Like that's difficult to pick everybody up perfectly in that kind of a transition moment. And the guy played a perfect pass. So,
right.
And he was in that sort of Frank Lampard spot, the trailing run, which is that is very, very hard to defend. Like I mean, good on Holland. Sometimes you just tip your hat, and you can probably ask some questions in the build-up. There was some, the giveaway.
But
blah,
the
blah,
bigger
blah.
questions were in the second goal.
The second goal is Dest, and the third goal is everybody.
The second goal is also a lot of everybody. There was only 15 seconds left in the half, and they were switched off. Like Holland were the ones playing for. They got their thing with the throw in, and they kicked it, and he scored, and all the U.S. players were statues, just looking around.
I think it was a combination. It was a combination of quality, really quality passing from the Dutch, and a little bit of they were not up. The defense was not focused in the same way that they have been. And I don't know. I don't know what that was about. If it's just a little fatigue. The Iran game probably took a lot out of them mentally. The Dutch had a much easier third game. I don't know if that's a factor. There was just the team looked a little like they just looked a little spent overall to me. But anyway,
I'm trying to think if I don't know if I saw a lot of that. Guess what you're saying. But I was listening to another review about it, and pretty much their high press game was also very much on point. Two of their forwards always ran out to cover the defensive wingers, which forced Matt Turner to go long, and it worked every time. And every time it went long, the Dutch got the ball, and they got the ball. So the Dutch, like I said, the Dutch were very much in control. They looked at what the US
really
were doing,
good.
and they had an answer for everything.
Yeah, very good performance. Very good performance from them, definitely. No, nothing to take away. And then the 2-1 Haji Wright just sort of kind of drops off his heel. Before that, he had a huge chance on the Dutch the Dutch miscue, and just takes an unfortunate first touch.
Yeah, a lot of unfortunate first touches and miscommunications. And we got the goal, and for a few minutes, it's like, are we going to get an equalizer? It's like, nah. And the third goal, wide open. It was just like, there's no.
That's just everybody is just nobody's looking, and the guy.
No Scally, no Rally,
no Scally. I mean, Robinson. Just nobody's looking. The guy's kind of like, he's almost sort of tiptoeing into the box. He's like, I'm really open. I'm not gonna scream. I'm not gonna scream, but I'm really, really open. I'm coming a little closer. I'm still really, really open.
It's like, guys, I haven't had this much space since I moved to the country.
I am extremely open.
It's like, I'm very Mario. I haven't been this open this entire World Cup, and I won't be this open for the next.
I will never be this open again, and so I'm not gonna yell, because I don't want to draw it. And so finally they find him and he scores. And that's just.
And there you go. There you go.
That's just sad. And that was the end of the. That's where the fantasy ended.
Fertig ist es, or the Dutch would say. I'm just assuming, fertig ist es, or something like that. How would you say it? Fertig ist es.
You want me to do a Dutch?
Do a Dutch, yeah.
There's a usually in there when I. Fertig ist es.
Yeah.
Oh my God, what are we doing? This is terrible.
During the press conference, someone asked Louis van Gaal some question. I forgot what it was. Oh, it was the typical, hey, is the third game rigged question or something like that. And he goes, Unsinn.
Unsinn.
Yeah, which is exactly the same word in German, just says it in his Dutch. Yeah, and then the translator goes, nonsense or something.
Nonsense.
I'm just like, I understand that. He's like, Unsinn.
Unsinn.
Yeah, 100%, which means it does not make sense. Nonsense. Okay, so there's not much talk about this game. So I got, Jesus Ferreira, poop. MLS.
Well, actually, there are things to talk about. The people in the bar.
Yeah, okay,
the people in the bar Gio Reyna. Here are the truths of the bar clientele. Berhalter sucks. Gio Reyna is the best player. It's a funny thing about U.S. men's national team fans that the best player on the team is always somebody who's not currently playing.
Yeah,
Because
we want to believe.
You want to believe.
Hope
springs eternal. So it's like Gio Reyna is the greatest player on the team.
Gio Reyna would have scored 5 goals
greatest player.
Yeah.
And then he comes off the bench and he did well. No knock on him. He played well, but didn't make a difference. Also had a very sort of sad looking shank where he then hit his head on the turf, and that just kind of summed it up, right?
Yeah. So do you know what's it called? The glass ceiling prophecy or some crap? It's a term used for when people only get opportunities when things are failing. It's like people of color and like women only get opportunities like at big companies
when things are bad.
When things are failing, that's sort of a last-ditch effort. There's a term for that. It's called glass ceiling something or other.
So Gio Reyna, like Gianni Infantino, is a black woman?
No, I'm not saying anything about that. I'm saying no. Gianni Infantino is the blackest woman I know.
he's everybody. He's
all of us. He's actually the whitest man I've ever met in my life.
He's Mr.
White. He's Mr. White. He's just
it's like is there like some is it in the contract, or what is the rule that says they have to show him for 5 seconds every game?
It's just,
I could watch the entire. I don't need to know that he's there. I don't need to look at him. It's totally fine.
I have no problem watching Roberto Carlos or something.
Don't need happily watching Roberto Carlos or Valderrama or anybody. It's all good. I don't need if I go through the entire tournament without seeing Infantino, totally fine, not a problem.
You're gonna see him a lot. But I'm saying that's the Gio Reyna thing. Like he is good, but like his only minutes are when we're down 2 goals. And he has to be really, really good.
Yeah,
as opposed to a bit good from the beginning of the game when it was still scoreless. He's the glass ceiling prophecy guy on our team. Yeah, exactly.
They have to find more. They clearly have to find more.
They always show legends in the stadium.
Whoever. And
I'm wondering, why don't they show U.S. legends in the stadium? Where's Mike Windishman?
Because they're all
1990 U.S. team. Why don't they show to him and be like, ladies and gentlemen, Mike
Windishman?
Because
the three U.S. legends are all in the Fox studio doing pregame.
I wanted to cut to Jay Demerit in the crowd.
Anybody who qualifies as a legend is very highly sought after for pre and post game coverage. Yeah.
Yeah, and I would say there's plenty of legends, non-legends. Anyway,
plenty non-legends.
Yeah,
now, one thing we haven't talked about, the thing that Greg Berhalter is going to get roasted for more than anything, is starting Jesus Ferreira, right? Which immediately, the first time you saw him standing next to Virgil van Dijk, it became completely obvious that was not gonna be it.
I saw Jesus Ferreira's lips. He's like, "This isn't Matt Hedges." I was just like, "No." I was like, "Of course not, Jesus. Of course it's not." Hedges.
That was, and this is why I was saying he gave. I'm pro Berhalter. I think he's done a good job. He's really leveled up this, considering where they were. I mean, like that. Under Bruce Arena, the last couple of games, I mean, they've come a long way in this time. This is not to be discounted, even though today didn't go well. Anyway, so I'm pro Berhalter. I'm on record for don't get paid by MLS. I'm not a booster or whatever. Anyway, but that was a head scratcher. Bringing in Ferreira, who has not played a minute in this entire tournament, and I think. Whatever you think,
he hasn't played competitive minutes.
Hasn't played a minute since how long?
I mean, it was last FC Dallas missed the playoffs, right? Or am I wrong?
Yeah. They they were in the playoffs, but not for long.
So let's say early October.
Yeah,
that's been 2 months ago. That's 2 months ago.
Yeah. So that was a head scratcher. I mean, however you feel about the guy, I thought going into this tournament that he definitely would see some minutes, and I thought he was higher on but today was, and I guess this speaks to maybe how Berhalter had a little bit of a different idea on how this was going to go, because certainly Ferreira is not the guy that you lob it into in the box. Like, he's not that player, but he looked from the beginning just even physically overmatched, and then as the half went on, he just came deeper and deeper. He seemed to be really wanting to run away from I guess Van Dijk specifically, but the Dutch defenders in general, and he then came.
He was really not great.
He hardly completed a pass.
Right.
That's
every pass he screwed up. I'm like, Gio Reyna would have nailed that. Why isn't Gio Reyna?
But then also a little surprising that Gio Reyna then comes in. I mean, obviously, I thought the halftime sub would be Haji Wright for Ferreira, but then that's not what happened. We had Gio Reyna coming in, which that's fine.
Right.
But he played the 9 then for a few minutes until Haji Wright came in. He was sort of the center forward.
Well, the thing is this: Greg was hard-headed, and when he was asked at the press conference if he's thinking about, because the big thing on everyone's mind is like, we don't have a number 9, we have a bunch of wingers. So let's play a false 9. And Greg never wanted to do that, ever. And then asked about today, he's like, no, I'm only considering my 3 9s for my 9. That's where Jesus Ferreira comes in. And finally, for the second act, he finally caves in, finally plays a false 9. But I'm like, we should have been doing that months ago. We should have been doing that against friendlies. We should have been preparing the false 9. Like going into a World Cup, you're going to play a Haaland.
And you have never done that before. Yeah.
So you should have practiced all that ahead of time. You know what I mean? So that's on Greg.
I think that's a question mark. I mean, you know how I feel about the 9 thing. I think you gotta even. I don't find that usually very successful. I think you have to empower. You have to empower your strikers.
But you got it.
And it was the same. It was the same with Germany. I think you pick somebody and then he's your guy. And I guess, Josh Sargent was
great. It worked great for Germany and us. Look at us grow with our goal scorers.
No, exactly. That's exactly it. I think you have to, even if somebody is not that good, you have to just you empower them and give them your trust, and that will help. And I mean that's the question, of course. If Josh Sargent is fit, he's going to start this game, and there is also a world out there where he's not hurt, and there's an alternate timeline where he starts.
And done anything different? I don't know.
He did the best of the people available. So
not scoring goals.
Well, and also anyway. So I think, but then sort of mixing it up like this is not the move. I think I would have started Haji Wright, and then you just gotta kind of stick with him. Tom is saying, to be honest, Berhalter lacks hello, Tom, by the way. Nice to see you on this sad day. To be honest, Berhalter lacks a bit of flexible, critical thinking tactically. Where should have played center forward with Pulisic and Reyna on the right. Jesus Ferreira was misused and should have been played as a false 9. I think.
And then he says, I feel bad for Jesus.
I feel bad for
I don't know if that's
for
Jesus Christ, our Lord and Savior.
I think he's probably
Jesus
talking
Ferreira.
about Jesus Ferreira. Could also be Gabriel Jesus, who is missing who's going to miss the rest of his World Cup because he's injured. Right. But no, I think we're talking about Jesus Ferreira as context clues here, Stefan.
Okay.
I
always think Jesus. I always think Jesus.
You always think Jesus.
Oh. Thinking of you, big guy.
And anyway, this is he meets Ferreira.
He confirms.
And
I would have rather played Jesus H. Christ.
Yeah, it's hard for anyone. I think he hasn't played in a long time. You go through a World Cup, and the teams that succeed, they find their way. They find who their guys are. They find the lineup. They find that they come together more as you kind of learn things about teams during this tournament. You don't know. You don't know who are the guys, who is the spine, who are the, and then you find out. Like the way the Dutch found out about Depay didn't start the early games, and Cody Gaspro was the guy, and now they're what is his name?
You said Gas Pro. His name's
Gas Pro. Oh, that's the
Gas
that's
Pro
the
is the place
company.
from the Gas Gazprom. Gazprom is
Gazprom is the Russian oligarch company. What is his name?
Gakpo or
Gakpo. I'm very sorry. He won't mind. He's having a great day.
Don't worry about them. They're doing great.
So the Dutch, they're finding their front two, they're figuring it out, and it's coming together. And that didn't happen here. You're running out Ferreira. He's not doing it, and then we're throwing things at the wall, and we just ran out of wall to throw things at.
Yeah, I mean. I'm chuckling because I'm still thinking of Jesus Christ and his robes as our number 9. Up top, with full robes. When the goalkeeper catches it, he's like, "Well done, my son." He crosses him, and he makes the goalkeeper feel bad. I think it would have been great with Jesus Hates Christ up front, honestly. So maybe talk about dual nationals.
Between the two Jesuses.
Right? Jesus Christ is heaven American, right? He's half heaven, half American.
He's a dual national. Yeah, I think he could. He's been playing for Heaven, but he could file. He could file a one. I think he's still eligible for the one-time switch. We could see for 2026.
Yeah. Also, I mean, the FIFA have to file a one-time switch, but FIFA and Heaven aren't getting along right now because FIFA stole all their money. So.
Oh yeah, they have more money than God now. I think it's official. They just passed.
They just passed.
Wow. All right, here we go.
Anyway, so I just love the Jesus.
The bits just keep coming.
He didn't play for 2 months, and Greg Berhalter's like, "Go get Holland, do it, Jesus, get it. Go at Virgil van Dijk. You can outscore."
Not putting. I mean, literally, Jesus Ferreira standing next to Virgil van Dijk was probably the saddest thing I've seen from the American team in this World Cup, where it's just like, yeah, that's not gonna be it.
Right. That ain't gonna work.
Especially falling behind, against a set Dutch defense. I was like, that's not it. And
you could sit there. Essentially, my thing is like, if you don't have a number 9, you play Reina, Pulisic and Weah, or Reina, Pulisic and Aronson, or one in the middle, and you work them as a flex front 3, where sometimes they float around, like they're not. Keep them flex. Maybe Weah's in the box and Reina and Pulisic out of the box. Maybe Pulisic's in the box and Weah and Reina out of the box. Let them rotate. It confuses the defense. It puts an attacking person in the box, like a constant rotation up top. That would be if Stefan was coach. I'd work on that a little bit. Require a lot of practice. Who's to say it will be any more effective? But that would just be my pipe dream thing. And then Holland won 3-1. Do you have anything you want to talk about the game specifically? Or do you want to talk about some bigger questions? I got some questions for you.
I think that's it. I think we've covered it. I think
and Tom, chime in. Anyone's on the chat, Tom, chime in. So it says Van Gaal scouted us really well, which is surprising because he didn't know anything about us or who the coach was during the press conference. Maybe that was a little bit of an act, maybe. Or maybe they didn't, and it's just how they play, and it doesn't matter who they're playing against.
I would say one more thing in my to forever be labeled the I want to, if this is in fact his last game, I want to cement my legacy as the Berhalter apologist by saying even in this poor again, things didn't go well, but I felt like even in that I was impressed with how they stay true to what they were trying to do. They did not start lobbing balls in the box. That wasn't gonna succeed. Like this is I would still think of them. Today he lost to Ben Gaal. I think Tom is right. You said it. We all agree. He was outcoached, but this is a well-coached team. Like, I don't think anybody can say that they're not, and I think if you look at it from a foreign perspective, people have been very complimentary about how this team is set up. I think Yunus Musa had another fantastic performance, even though he looked a little spent for sure, but was great again. I think the midfielders were. This is a well-coached team. They did not go for the desperation heaves, and credit to
Iron
that.
Tulip
Thomas saying
strikes again.
bright side, we made it out of the group and got to see our future players for 2026 playing a knockout round. Yeah. It's true.
Way
So
to
let's
look at
talk about the future.
Big questions. Okay.
I have the number one thing. Do you want to go first? Should I go first?
All I want to say is cleanly, no one will defy the Iron Tulip. I just want to say that. I love saying Iron Tulip over with. Yeah, go for it. I got some questions. You go for it.
I think
questions, and we'll go.
I have the number one problem that this team has. I'm going to tell you right now.
Set pieces.
What?
No,
set pieces were not set pieces. Set pieces were not great, but it's part. Yeah, set pieces are part of what I'm about to say. I think
I could name 3 of the number one problems if you want.
Okay, I mean, listen. There's lots of room for improvement. The one thing, and I think this is the biggest issue I think facing this team going forward, and whoever the coach is going to be, I think the biggest issue is that Christian Pulisic is not as good as he thinks he is. And that's not to say that he's not good. And that's not to say he's going to be an important player for this team, but he's not the guy. I think he thinks of himself, and I think, everybody thinks of him as on that sort of top tier God level of, or close to it, or sort of on his way there of this like top tier level of the, maybe not Messi, Ronaldo, but at least like, Eden Hazard in his heyday, or whoever you want to name on current teams. I guess Mbappe again is a little too far, but like Didier, whatever, whoever you want to think of, like a top player, and that was his trajectory when he got the big money move from Dortmund to Chelsea. And the reality is, Thomas saying what I'm about to say. He's a good player. He's a good player, but not world class. He's not on that tier, and he plays like he's on that tier. He wants to be the guy. Everything's going through him. I think he puts a lot of there's commercials about all the pressure that he's facing and how that makes diamonds. It hasn't made a diamond in this tournament. He had chances. He had a chance today. His passing is okay. It's not. Again, it's not a binary thing. It's not to say like, oh, he's terrible, he should never play again. He's going to be an important player for the team, but he cannot be. He dribbles into traffic. He had there was a one ball that he played. Was it to right, where he just waited a little too long, where the goalie came out and saved it, and he was just hesitating that little extra second. And if he plays it sooner, he's not a pass first guy. He's like his first thought is always like, what do I do? How can I do this? He doesn't really fully trust his teammates.
Right. And
he hasn't been that good. If you want to be that guy, then you have to be that good. You have to make more. It's not like you have to, nobody scores on every attempt. Not Messi, not Ronaldo, not Mbappe, but his deliveries have been not as good. His passing hasn't been as good, and he's an important piece, but he's not the guy. He has to be one of the guys. There's other people. I think Tim Weah was as good or better in this tournament. Gio Reyna clearly in the future is going to have a bigger role. There's other players, and I think that's the biggest challenge for whoever the coach is for him. And I guess he has this problem too in his club career. Like he's not playing much at Chelsea, so he's at this inflection point in his career where he has not quite lived up to. And I think that's a reality for every player. You're always going to be judged based on expectations, not objectively. Like he is probably the best player on the team still, but he's not on the level that he was kind of that everybody hoped he would be at, or that he probably himself thinks of himself as. So that's the problem.
He was better 4 years ago during qualifying. At least it looked like it. And I think it's because there was not a pressure on him. He was young and hungrier, maybe. And he ran through when he had other guys. And they need to. They need to. I think early in the tournament we saw him be more balanced, and it was great. That's what we need to see.
Yeah.
And then when it leans too hard on him, yeah, that's where it's like, he's not Leo Messi. So,
But I think this is not it. This is not it. It's not how the team is set up. I think it's partly, it's partly an issue of him, being people just being deferential to him. He's got that label, the Captain America thing, and he puts it on himself. He wants the pressure, and he hasn't. I mean, yeah, he hasn't quite lived up to that top level billing. Tom is saying, to be fair, due to injuries, the starting 11 just hasn't had enough time together, and I lay that at Berhalter's feet because he continued to play favorites. I mean, I think the pool that's the other. Anyway, you can get a word. You can get a word in too. I'm sorry, I've been going off.
I'm not you go. Well, I'm a little over. So with Tom's thing, yeah, he would play like it also comes to the whole. It's another thing. I definitely agree with you on Pulisic. I remember back when he was young and 17 and freaking the best player in the world. And he really was. He was like our only player playing well for the qualifier. And he got a little older, a lot of pressure got on his shoulders, and he's just playing with the world on his shoulders, and you can kind of see it. Yeah, so I'd love for him. And I do believe he is a very good player. And I do believe he still has more. Hold on.
Absolutely. Yeah. No, go ahead.
Yeah. But you're right. He can't be leaned on, at least not right now. Reyna, in my opinion, is naturally more gifted. So if you lean on anybody, you lean on Reyna. But he's also too young for that, too. You have to wait for the minute to get old. So our players are about to get more mature. And more players are coming through the pipeline. I'm still hoping Pulisic was just the first, and there's more coming. I think there are more coming, I hope.
Right,
right. So the whole, like, the Berhalter, now going back a little bit to Berhalter, which leads to a couple of my other questions here, is Berhalter's roster selection was weird. It was weird. And all his surprises failed. Like I look at this game and I think, would Ricardo Pepi have been more effective? Now, I'm not saying he would have been, but Haji Wright has been incredibly ineffective. He was ass the entire tournament. I'm sorry, he was. Jordan Morris called in over Paul Areola. Total ass. Why wasn't Paul Areola?
Come on, Paul Areola is the savior.
I'm not saying he's the savior. Not saying he's the savior, but I'm wondering. There's no Jordan Pifak. There's no Ricardo Pepi. There's no Paul Areola. There's no Malik Tillman. All these players he didn't bring. He brought these other more surprising players. Hold on, and I think to myself, all the replacements he brought in were the exact same failures we assumed they were going to be. So I don't get. All of his surprising choices didn't work. I'm not blaming the whole World Cup loss on that. I'm just saying this is an example of why Berhalter pisses people off, and he's not proven to be right. How about this game had Jordan Pifak and we're kicking balls in the box all the time? Maybe that would have worked. I don't know.
I don't agree. Okay. I mean, obviously, I can't prove it. Can't prove it negative.
Then this leads to my question. Does Berhalter stay on to 2026?
Yes.
Really?
I don't know.
I'm fine.
I think the larger answer is that, there is a thing about multiple World Cup cycles that doesn't usually go well. So, Tom is saying Tom no in all caps.
It's doing the Darth Vader. Vader.
Please no.
Please no.
I think he if this wasn't a thing, I think the numbers don't lie, coach don't do well in multiple cycles. So that's definitely an important thing. And the other question that nobody ever seems to want to answer, who do you get? Who are the people? Who are all these, people are we have an inferior coach. Everybody. This is the thing on Twitter. We have this,
that ain't me.
We have this incredible talent that's being held back by our nepotism guy.
All nonsense.
Who are these people? Who are all these?
Literally after today, if Louis van Gaal successfully gets rid of his cancer or whatever, let's get Louis van Gaal.
Louis van Gaal wants the job?
Why not? He taught. They asked him at the press conference. He wants to go to Africa. And he wants to go to Belgium and stuff. He laughed. He's like, if my wife wants to go there, we'll go. Maybe his wife likes.
I mean,
Miami.
he's an old man.
I know. I'm not saying Louis van Gaal, but I'm saying
it's not. You're not going to.
You're not allowed to. You're not allowed to pretend that Greg Berhalter is all we can get. Come on, we can get
but
coaches.
Like
Osorio,
Hugo
Perez. I'm not into Hugo Perez.
I don't know who's
Matarazzo. Pellegrino Matarazzo. Pellegrino Matarazzo is what he said.
I mean, we're not gonna. I think these are all possibilities, but I don't think any of these are obvious upgrades.
Well, what I'm saying is this. Okay, so anyway, we get a new coach, or we keep Greg. If you're saying no, but maybe Greg is building something, which leads to my other questions. What are the things we still need to develop? 1, set pieces. 2, scoring goals. Those are the figuring out goals, like being more an attacking team. I also like the old guard of the U.S. were good at set pieces. They were defensive and they countered. We lost all of those skills.
They were good on set pieces because they were not good at anything else.
Exactly.
Offensively.
So why did we lose that? Like what I'm saying is we take all the old crap and we sprinkle it. We like a pinch of salt. We sprinkle it right back on this current team. Let them keep. So like for a team like the United States, we ain't Brazil. Okay, we're the United States. When we get set pieces, remember the Icelandic team of Euro 2016. How valuable their throw-ins were. All their goals came off throw-ins. They just took every little opportunity they had and got real value out of it.
I just don't
need that. We need to develop.
I just don't think. I think those are. Those are underdog. Those are underdog strategies. I think
we are underdogs.
Not to say that the team couldn't improve on set pieces and so on, but I think that's a real. Accomplishment of this group that they have been playing a.
Okay, so Bjorn is the coach.
Go for it.
Now, what do you build on? What do you work on top of it? What do you build on? If it's not set pieces, what do you build on?
I think whoever the coach is, I think the team is going in a good direction. I think there's nothing. I'm not thinking burn it all down. I think. This is a young team. The players are going to be the players. I think the midfield has been great. Hopefully, a number 9 will emerge. I think the player pool is also the player pool. It's still a little shallow. You could see on this squad, like after 13, 14, it gets a little thin. I think. Right. I think DeAndre Yedlin had a great game off the bench.
Sounds like you're saying Berhalter needs to continue, right? Keep going.
I'm not. I think again, like I said, I think the multiple World Cup cycle curse is a thing. So I think I could also understand if people want to make a change. I could understand if he also is like, okay, enough of this. I've taken so much crap. Right. So I don't know. I could see this happening, but I think I could also see him staying. Yeah, I certainly don't think he deserves to be fired, or like this is an obvious like he was terrible, let's bring somebody else. I don't know. I think if I was in charge, I would see who are the alternatives. Who else can I get? No coach is perfect. Most people. I have beef with Hansi Flick. Mexicans never want to see Tata Martino again. Who.
Americans don't want to see Greg again. I think the most realistic replacement is Jim Curtin. Because he's the hot American coach, he's MLS coach. He has had more success than Berhalter, although he hasn't really won anything. He won a Supporters' Shield and finalists. He's done the whole thing with Greg was like he's done so much with so little. It's like, yeah, those Columbus Crew teams are good, but then the minute he left, Caleb Porter took them and won MLS Cup with him that next year. So it was like, oh, it's just like, oh, well, Greg couldn't do that. I'm not saying Caleb Porter, even though I do like Caleb Porter.
Oh my God, please
someone
no.
who's, I believe, like, there's two schools of thought. Maybe get yourself a Carlo Ancelotti. Say Herdman from Canada.
Herdman from Canada.
I mean, I'm not into Herdman.
Yeah, I think these are all fine suggestions, but I don't. It's not.
in yourself. Like what's his face? That's Jim Curtin. Of course, everyone wants Jesse Marsh, but Jesse Marsh is busy. Let him do his thing. Pellegrino Matarazzo is available. I'd be open to that. Pellegrino Matarazzo was a good coach who coached at a high level.
Yeah.
He was very flexible. He wasn't hard-headed and cared about his talent. He was flexible. And maybe as the national team, we just need a man manager who's just kind of like a John Herdman from Canada, who's just like, mach in, good, like just make sure they're in good shape and set up to succeed without trying to be freaking Pep Guardiola all the time. You know what I mean?
Well, again, I don't subscribe to that theory that there was too much system or whatever. I think the team looked good. I think they did play well together. They had an approach that worked for them for a lot of this. And this is, here Tom is saying, please no MLS coach as someone with international experience. I think if you pick Jim Curtin, he's going to face the same amount of skepticism where people say like, oh, what have you done? You're an MLS coach.
I don't care
about
the skepticism. I care about the coaching. I don't know. But I think what are you going to get from a foreign coach?
There is something to be said. There is something to be said for, especially the European-based players need to buy in. And need to respect and need to respect the coach, and I think Berhalter has done well. He's got everybody on board, and I think he's done. But he had some European experience as a player, so I think that can be an important thing, just in terms of players respecting the coach, and then some coaches have never played before. It all depends. I'm not saying that's what they have to do. My point is, not obvious that there are all these people out there that are clearly going to be better. We'll see.
You're saying the coach is a red herring, and there's not major changes need to happen. Just like Germany, just need to keep doing what they're doing.
That's what I do think that. I think this is still a very young team. They've done well for their inexperience. They've grown a lot. They're going to just continue to get better. There's going to be other people hopefully rounding out the pool. There's other people waiting in the wings, and so the team is just going to improve. And at the same time, it's also true there is still a little bit of a quality gap probably to the top Euro players. And Berhalter also has it's not like he was perfect. He also has things that he's learned, and maybe, and it's the same with Hansi Flick. If he says, "Oh, I did everything perfect," I would say, "No, you did not." And the same with Greg. If Greg says everything's go,
Tom says he got to go.
Tommy's got to. Well, Argentina, Australia is about to start. We all have to go. So let's. Should we?
All I want to say is, I want two things. One, is an army texting you? You've been getting texts.
I don't know. I need to turn off these notifications.
Oh, the whole podcast. Sorry. Dig.
I apologize.
B, there is only one coach for the United States moving forward, and that coach is Jesus Hans Christ. Okay.
Oh my God.
Thinking of you, our Lord and Savior. If Jesus Hans Christ can come
here
in.
we go.
Does H stand for Hans? I forgot. But anyway, it was
right.
holy. Jesus Holy Christ. Anyway,
thank you, Tom.
Coach.
Appreciate it.
Who's going to be Australia's going to win by 4 goals or 3 goals?
Definitely 3 or 4.
3 or 4. I'm thinking 4. I think Australia 4-0. The Stripes are coming in. You know what? Overall, we took a broken team and brought us back to the promised land and set ourselves up for a good future. So things are okay for the U.S. For my fellow U.S. fans, things are okay. Okay? All right, we've been the Schnitzel Boys. We're on YouTube. Catch on podcast.
When are we coming back? Monday night? Back to the regular slot? All our teams are out. All our teams are out.
We're back to neutral observers.
It's MLS. It's all MLS preview.
We're going to spend an hour talking about the expansion draft and the LA Galaxy suspension and all that stuff. All that good stuff. All right, we'll see you back on Monday then, yeah?
All right.
Tschüss.
Tschüss.
Tschüss, everybody. Montag. Monday.